All right, you are not going to believe the story we're diving into today. It kind of blew up on Reddit.
Oh, yeah? Which one?
Started in AITH, am I the asshole, then hit Best of Redditor updates. It's about this guy, OOP, who's basically hiding his best friend from his own wife.
Okay, wow. Hiding him. That sounds intense. There's got to be more to it.
Oh, definitely. So the setup is OOP moves like 15 hours away for work, meets Becca, gets married, all good. Then his best bud from back home, JR, moves out there too.
Okay, following so far. Friend moves closer.
Yeah, but then JR starts dating Becca's sister, Maggie. And Maggie, well, she has a little kid, maybe 4 years old, from a previous relationship. Dad's still in the picture, apparently.
Ah, okay. So JR gets involved with the sister-in-law. That adds a layer. Did they live together?
Yep, eventually. Maggie had been living with her parents, maybe struggled a bit financially, OOP hinted. Anyway, about a year before the main drama, she moves in with JR.
Right, so they were pretty serious then. And things seemed okay for a while.
Seemed okay, exactly. But then, about 2 months before OOP writes his post, JR finds proof, like solid proof.
Proof of what? Don't leave me hanging.
Cheating. Maggie was cheating on him. OOP mentioned JR found texts with someone else. Yikes.
Oof. Okay, yeah, that's bad. JR must have been devastated.
Totally. OP said he was really upset, range of emotions, and just felt like, I cannot live here anymore. So he calls OOP.
Makes sense. Needs his friend. What did OP do?
Dude stepped up. He found JR a place to stay, like a rental house owned by a work buddy, totally separate from Becca and Maggie's world.
Smart move. Keep it separate.
And the timing was, well, almost too convenient. Becca, Maggie, the kid, and their mom were all planning this trip to see Grandma like a few weeks after JR found out.
Seriously. Okay, so escape window opens up.
Totally. While they're gone, OOP helps JR pack his stuff. And OOP makes a point, right, that most of the stuff in the apartment was JR's anyway. Big furniture, everything.
Okay, so JR wasn't just taking random things out of spite. He took his own possessions.
Exactly. Even left some kitchen stuff, things he'd bought for the niece. He wasn't trying to be a jerk, just get out.
Right. So he moves out while they're away.
Yeah.
How did he let Maggie know? Just ghost?
Nah, he sent an email, explained why he left, the cheating. And he told the landlord he wasn't renewing the lease, which was ending soon anyway, like in March. Left a check for the last month's rent and utilities too.
Seems pretty responsible considering covered his bases.
You'd think. But when Maggie and Becca and everyone get back, boom, total meltdown. Maggie's apparently furious he took his stuff.
Even though it was his. And Becca, what was her reaction?
Just as intense, maybe more.
Yeah.
She immediately starts demanding, where is JR? You have to tell me where he is.
Whoa, okay. Yeah. Directly at OOP.
Yep. And this is where OOP digs his heels in. He's like, he's safe. That's all you need to know. I'm not telling you where he is.
Oh, boy. I can see how that would go down well.
Not well at all. OOP described the next month as just constant pressure. Yeah. Becca begging, yelling, making threats. She even tried to get into his phone. He had to change his passcode.
Tried to get into his phone. Wow. That's crossing a line. What was her reasoning?
Her argument was basically, I'm his wife. She's my sister. We're family. I deserve to know where he is. Like, it was her right.
The family argument. Even though JR isn't technically family, just dating the sister.
Right. And OOP just stood firm, protecting JR's privacy, his need for space. But then Becca drops the D-bomb. Divorce.
She threatened divorce over him not revealing JR's location. Seriously
over this. So yeah, that's what we need to unpack here. Like, why is OOP being so secretive? What's the real impact on the marriage? And what is going on with these family dynamics? It's way more than just a breakup.
Absolutely. You've got JR's side finding out about the cheating, Maggie's reaction, the consequences she's facing, Becca's intense need to intervene.
Yeah, that fix-it mentality.
Exactly. And in the wider family, the kid involved.
Yeah.
There's so many moving parts. We got to look at all of it.
Okay, let's start with Becca wanting to know where JR is. Like, Maggie cheated, JR left with his own stuff. Why is Becca pushing so hard? Why does she think she can fix this?
Well, OOP offered a bit of insight there. He said Becca's kind of wired as a problem solver. Like, she's an engineer, apparently.
Okay. Sees a problem, needs a solution.
Pretty much. And if something's blocking her path of finding that solution, she gets frustrated. Her default seems to be every problem can be fixed.
So Maggie cheating, explode. JR leaving without talking, obstacle to the fix. Is that it?
That seems to be the logic, yeah. She probably feels it's unresolved because they haven't had that confrontation or, the chance for her to mediate or something.
Even though Maggie admitted she cheated, Becca knows that part.
She knows, but her focus seems to have shifted. It's less about the why and more about the what now. Yeah. And she thinks OOP hiding JR is stopping the what now. She wants to manage the situation.
It's just weird because OOP mentioned Becca and Maggie weren't even super close before JR. He was the one organizing hangouts, trying to bring them together.
Right. So her intense loyalty now feels a bit disproportionate, maybe.
Yeah. Like, where is this coming from?
Well, maybe she liked that closeness JR fostered and doesn't want to lose it. OP also mentioned the in-laws were worried.
Worried about what?
That Maggie might go back to, old habits. Apparently, she wasn't doing great before JR came along, struggled a bit, and that stressed Becca out.
So they saw JR as stabilizing Maggie, and now they're freaking out.
Kind of sounds like it. The in-laws even wanted to talk to JR themselves, try to smooth things over, fix the situation, as OOP put it. Lots of pressure on JR, seems like.
Man, poor JR. Sounds like a nice guy caught in the middle of it a lot. Good on him for prioritizing himself after being betrayed, though.
Definitely. His well-being had to come first there. Okay, so fast forward, there's an update about a month and a half later, and things have gotten worse.
Oh, no. How?
Well, Becca apparently spilled the beans, told Maggie and her mom that OOP knew where JR was all along.
Oh, she didn't. What happened then?
Predictably, major drama. OOP said Maggie and the mother-in-law started harassing him, demanding the location.
Harassing him? Seriously?
Yeah, he still refused, obviously. And it led to a huge fight with Maggie. He actually banned her from his house until she apologizes.
Whoa. Banned his sister-in-law? Has she apologized?
Nope. So at the time of the update, he hadn't seen Maggie or his in-laws in like a month. Big rift.
Jeez. And where did Maggie end up? The lease was ending, right?
Right. She had to move out. She ended up back at her parents' place. Becca actually suggested Maggie and the niece move in with her and OAP.
Get out of here after all this. What did OOP say?
Thankfully, he said no, pointed out the massive conflict and, Becca's behavior. Said it would be a terrible environment.
Smart man. Dodged a bullet there. But, moving back with the parents, that usually signals more problems.
Exactly. And unfortunately, it seems it did. Maggie's ex, the daughter's father, is now involved.
How so?
He's apparently threatening to go for full custody, citing Maggie moving back to what OBK called a problematic neighborhood, and also some conflict happening at the grandparents' house, maybe between Maggie and her dad.
Oh, man. That poor kid. And let me guess who Becca blames for this cluster mess.
There you go. OOP and JR. Her logic is, if only they'd known JR was leaving, they could have done something, kept them together, or at least kept Maggie in that apartment she couldn't afford.
That logic is completely broken. Maggie cheated, JR left. How is that OP's fault? Or JR's fault that the ex is now worried?
It's not logical at all. It ignores Maggie's actions completely. And yeah, the fact Maggie couldn't afford the place alone highlights her own issues, separate from JR leaving.
OOP actually made a point about his niece and all this.
Oh yeah, what did he say?
He basically said he thinks it might be better for her to live with her dad. Said the kid mentioned being scared at the grandparents' house, and Maggie probably can't afford a custody fight anyway.
Wow, that's actually looking out for the kid maybe more than Becca or Maggie are. Taking a practical view.
Seems like it. Focusing on stability for the child, not just trying to force Maggie and JR back together or prop Maggie up.
Meanwhile, what about JR and Maggie? Any contact?
Yeah, eventually. JR agreed to a FaceTime call a couple weeks before the update. Maggie wanted to meet in person, but JR said no.
Very smart. How did the call go?
Well, Maggie apologized, apparently. But then she immediately tried to use the daughter, asked him to reconsider for my daughter.
Ugh, classic manipulation tactic. Using the kid.
Totally. Reddit commenters jumped all over that. JR saw through it, though. Refused to reconsider, and when Maggie had what he called an emotional outburst, he just ended the call. Sounds like he's done.
Good for him, setting boundaries.
Yeah.
So where does that leave everything?
Well, the main conflict is still OOP versus Becca. He's standing by his friend, protecting his privacy. She thinks he's interfering and stopping her from fixing her family's mess.
And the Reddit-verse mostly sides with OOP.
Yeah.
Seeing Becca's behavior is a huge red flag for the marriage.
Big time. Lots of comments about Becca siding with the cheater, crossing boundaries, questioning if the marriage can survive this. Plus, you still have the custody battle looming for the niece.
Yeah, that's a really sad consequence of all this dysfunction.
And JR, is he sticking around or moving back home?
Still up in the air, apparently. So, yeah, lots of unresolved tension.
It's just such a tangled situation, isn't it? Broken trust everywhere, people trying way too hard to control things they can't, clashes over loyalty.
For sure. So it really makes you think, right? When your friends and your family are on opposite sides of a conflict like this, where do your loyalties lie? What's the right thing to do?
And maybe, just maybe, sometimes trying to fix everything actually makes it worse. What are those long-term costs?
Exactly. Definitely something to chew on long after you stop listening.